What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Cubric tutorial. Today we're diving into the basics of building an obby. By the end of the video, you'll be creating epic obstacle courses that will challenge and entertain other players, and especially your friends. So let's get started. Okay, so what is an obby? Well, an obby is short for an obstacle course, where players must overcome a series of physical challenges to reach the finish line. Obbies in Cubric are extra exciting because you can really let your imagination run wild. So you can build up as high as you want, or deep down as deep as you want, with any theme, any color, or any shape. You name it, it's yours. Cubric has simple tools and all the items you need to make your dream obby. And then you can have other players attempt to complete your obby, and then compete for the fastest time record. So let's get started. So before we start building an obby, let's think about what kind of obby we want to create. Do we want to create something that's massive with multiple levels, or maybe something really simple and straightforward where speed is the name of the game? The sky's the limit, so let's think about a theme for our obby. Maybe we want players venturing through a tropical landscape, or maybe we want them to jump between rocks, trying to avoid bubbling molten lava. Or maybe we can create something that's like a futuristic series of platforms that stretch up into the sky. Or maybe we can create something like a mysterious underwater assault course, like an Obby Atlantis, or just whatever you can imagine, you can bring to life in this game. That's what's so cool about it. I really get inspiration from the real world, like movies and video games, so I really like adding a theme, and it definitely makes your obby stand out. Now that you know what kind of obby you want to build, let's start building. Let's create a new build for our obby. You can start with a flat, empty plot, or choose from different types of starter plots available, like lava, snow, hills, water-based, and others. As you play Cubric, and the more you complete challenges, the more starter plots you'll unlock. So I'll go with the Grass Islands plot for now, and don't forget to choose a cool name for your obby. For now, let's just call this one Obbyland. We'll be creative in the actual obstacle course. So now that we're in our new build, let's go through the menus and interface you'll be using to create your obby. So in building mode, there's a slot bar down the middle of the screen, just below your character, and this is where you get to choose the items and blocks to begin building. So let's tap on the left button to open the selection menu. This menu has multiple tabs for different types of blocks and items, and most of these blocks are for building terrain and placing decorative items, but today we are focusing on the Game Maker items, so tap on the Game Maker tab to see a group of special items displayed. These are the items that we'll be placing in our build to create our obby. So Game Maker items are special because they interact with the player and can only be triggered when placing the obby, so let's quickly go through them. First, we have our start and finish lines. These obviously mark the beginning and end of your obby. The player's goal is to race from the start line to the end line as fast as they can. Next, we have the obstacle items. Now, these blocks continuously move in different ways. They interact with the player by pushing them around or serving as platforms, so you'll want to focus mainly on these for your obby because this is what's going to make your obstacle course much more interesting. Then we have direction items, and these are pretty much decorative, but they're really important for guiding players, and especially when you have a big labyrinth or big vertical obbies. And finally, we have the game over items. These blocks will define the challenge for your players. Once a player touches one, it's game over. They'll have to restart from the starting line, so you'll get to be a little creative and a bit sneaky with their placement. You can either be generous or a bit evil, it's up to you. So obbies should have the right difficulty level because they need to be able to challenge the player, or otherwise they'll just be too impossible to complete, or they'll be too boring for anyone to want to continue. So I would recommend adding more challenges and more themes to make it interesting and fresh, but just remember to have the perfect balance of difficulty and enjoyment, because after all, this is all about having fun. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics, let's start building our obby. So let's tap on the Game Maker items from the menu and place them in the slots in the bar below. Let's place the starting line here, and this will mark the beginning of our obby, and this is where players will restart if they lose. So now we can start placing some obstacles. So I am going to start with an easy challenge just to get players in the mood. I'll use game over items to create a challenging maze, but I want to make sure to add at least 2 types of items so it doesn't look too monotonous. So let's place this here and this here. Cool. cool. So the first part of the obby is ready, and now let's move on to the second part, which will be a little more difficult. I'm going to be deleting some floor blocks to make this part a platform puzzle that'll require a bit of skills to jump between. So I'll cover the floor with some game over tiles, so if the player falls down there, they'll lose. Now I'll be adding some moving platforms. Okay, I think that looks challenging enough. Now for the grand finale, a mix of a labyrinth and a platform puzzle. So let's introduce some pushing obstacles to this last part so players don't have a second to rest. I can't be too nice. So once they're in, they'll have to move quickly to the end, and this will test the player's speed. Okay, I am done. Yeah, pretty happy with the results. Now we just need to add our finish line right here, and our course is complete. Alrighty, let's test our obby first. So stand on the starting line, and when you're ready to start, just tap the start button. And let's go! Okay, do not want to touch these mushroom spiky things, so let's carefully move into the right. Come on. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, and yeah, there we go. Okay, here we go, and okay, maybe that last part was a little too hard. We want to challenge the player, but not totally frustrate them. Okay, attempt number 2. I made it to the pit last time, so let's see if I can make it past it this time. Over and carefully jump, and I made it! Woohoo! 45 seconds, baby. Let's add some finishing touches before we finish our obby because we want to make this a really unique experience. This is where we can really let our imagination run wild. I really want to create this fantastical Wonderland obby, and while I'm at it, let's be nice and add some direction items to guide the player. You know, it's good to give a little bit of help because if I was playing this course, I'd want a little bit of help. And finally, our obby is done! Behold, Obbyland! Isn't it beautiful? Okay, now we just need to find some players to test it out. So let's head back to the main menu and tap on Join Island. Now we can see our obby plot right next to the main island. Ready for all those other players to jump in and play. And when other players beat your obby, you'll see their gamer tags and record times displayed on the screen in front of the starting line. And, you know, it's only fair that they win bragging rights for life. Alright, it looks like some other people are already joining. You know, it's actually kind of fun watching some of them fail. Oh, look! Hey! We already have our first winner! Woo! So that is it for today's tutorial. Now you can go back and build your own incredible obby challenge. Make sure to let your creativity run loose and check out other obbies created by the Cubric community to get even more inspired. The more obbies you play, the better obby designer you'll become. It only makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more tutorials and have a wonderful day!